My reaction when I met Chris was like, wow, because he was so unconventional, and I was just I watched Shark Tank and all the shows, and I walked into the class thinking, anticipating how he was going to be, and he was it was completely a different experience. And I really believe that students, because I'm in a different department than most of my peers in the class, but I think that all graduate students, probably undergraduate students, need an opportunity to work with him, because he's going to prepare you for the real world, whatever that means. I mean, as a graduate student, you get so used to theory, and that's great, the research and all. I mean, that's a wonderful thing, but it's rare to meet someone that's so genuine, that shares so much about himself, and that's certainly going to challenge you to just think way outside the box and just go for it. So I didn't anticipate any of that. I think the main thing that has been a game changer for me, I always felt that I needed to know everything. Or I guess there was this insecurity where I always felt like, I'm not ready. I need to know more. I need to do more. And he just, he has certainly instilled that you're ready right now. Get out there and do it, and make some stuff happen. And so, and he's kind of shown us. We watched a film, I think may have been last week or a couple of weeks ago, and we were watching sort of, I think it was about Bill Gates. Was it Bill Gates and Steve Jobs?
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the
Silicon
document.
Valley or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And one thing that after I watched the documentary, I realized that prior to Apple or prior to Microsoft, they were students just like me. They were students with an idea, and now I mean, literally changed the world. And so, that element, I think that's just like a master teacher. My parents were teachers, and so the idea that it's been instilled in me that the role of a teacher is to inspire what is already in you. And so Chris has far exceeded that. I am just grateful, because again, I'm in a completely different department. And so the probability of my intersecting with him, I mean, it's just sort of divine, because he's been a blessing, to say the least. Chris is unconventional. Um, let me think about that for a second, so I can be really specific. But his teaching methodology is just unconventional. You know, Traditionally, you want to get a textbook and read the chapter and then answer. You can forget that if you're taking one of his classes. He's going to, first of all, I think the first order of business is to find out. He wants to know what we want to do, right? And then secondly, he's so knowledgeable that he can kind of share like all sorts of, I mean, he'll, challenge you to kind of think really dynamically about what you want to do. And then in addition to that, he's going to support you at it. So that's just like, they're just various levels. I think that it's certainly easier for teachers to, have you open a textbook and then discuss the chapter and blah, 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 blah. But you really have to consider the time, space, and the history of the author of some of these publications. And so with him, it's sort of like he's like this walking publication. And he can adjust his curriculum according to the needs of the student, which is kind of rare, I really don't see how he does it, really, but he, somehow he gets it done.
See, like when he talks about class, I was a teacher in South Korea before I met Chris,
Oh, okay.
and when he starts talking about his class, about like how it makes him feel, like I felt the same way in Korea, and it reminded me of an old high school teacher of mine who was the exact same idea, where he inspired me. Like I learned so much from him that was beyond the classroom. But the problem with that teacher was, and it was high school, so many of the students took advantage of that, or they just didn't get it. So they looked at him as like an easy teacher. Oh, this guy's gonna make me slide. I don't have to do any work, because he wanted you to do the greater thing. Now I got it, so that's why I loved him. But now I'm wondering on Chris, is there like, I mean, is there students that kind of look at him as easy or like a blow off, or is it like all of them like you? You know?
I think I would say not even most, all of the students in my particular class, they realize that he has access. And if I think we all sort of realize, if we have an idea, it's on us to really hustle, make sure we schedule a meeting with Chris, because he's certainly going to help us move what we want to do forward. And so again, having someone sort of champion what you do like that, that is very rare. So yeah, I would say, it's kind of hard to answer, because because I'm not in the arts administration, or what is it called, arts media and management department. I don't know. I mean, I can't compare him to other professors in that department. But I'm very satisfied. Yeah, because I feel like you can do this. Some of the ideas that I have, I just feel like you can do it. Sometimes a person can be too prepared. Sometimes I think business students, fresh out of business school, can rely upon theory just a little bit too much. And so I think with him, you sort of get that balance, because it's not that he's saying throw your books away. That's not the case at all. But I think he primarily focuses on how you manage the information that you have in the real world. And then again, he takes it one step further, in that he'll literally show you how you can do it. And that element alone is like the disconnect that I've seen across the board. You always hear these inspirational speakers, kind of encourage or motivate people to change the world, do this, do that. And then they have all this energy and there's this rigor to do it. But then it's like, how do I do it? And see, with Chris, he's like, you want to do it, you can do it. Let me help you with your first step. Let me help you with your second step. Who gets that? So again, I don't know. It's just, I keep saying that he's just sort of been a blessing, but his teaching style, man, it's the bomb. I don't know. I wish I could find something.
Will you take his class again?
Heck yeah. I would definitely take his class again. In fact, I just asked him a few minutes ago, was he going to be teaching some graduate courses next semester? I almost wish that there could be like a continuing education, maybe not where we meet 2 or 3 hours, but for students of his that would want to just sort of meet up, a Christopher Foltz meet up after, I would go for sure.
Maybe you should start a whole new school.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
No, I really like what you said earlier about the textbook and Chris, because I felt that exact same thing when I was going through school, and that's why I struggled with learning, because everyone told me to read these textbooks, and I fucking hate reading.
Right.
Especially a textbook that has no interest in me.
Right.
So I would never get information. But if they start talking about the real world and something that was done, I'm all ears and paying attention. And I can definitely see that about Chris, because all the teachers that I was always good with, the ones I liked the most, was ones where the textbook didn't really matter. Those were for the students that needed that information. Me, I was more engaged with the teacher itself.
Yeah. And you really, if you consider yourself original, then he's the kind of person that you would want in your life, in your circle, for sure. So for people who are comfortable with just sort of floating in the status quo, he's not your guy. That's just how it is. But if you consider if you think that you have courage, if you think that you have vision, if you think that, hey, I can do some things, you need to give him a call. That's just how it is. But I recognize that there are a lot of people who are just, they're not comfortable. They wouldn't be comfortable with someone like Chris, and that's okay. I am.
I got one more question for you. What is it? It's like the unconventional. It's the crazy. It's all like exactly what you just said. It's like it's not for everyone. Like that. But like, what? Why do we say these things that like he's crazy? I guess, do you think he's crazy to a certain degree?
I don't think he's crazy. I would say he's exciting. He's exciting. And the thing about it is, it's like you know, I'm an older student, you know, so for me, I think I got to the point in life where, you know, when you're in your late teens, 20s, it's okay to be sort of eccentric, and it's okay to dream big, and it's okay. But then there comes a point in life where you sort of plateau, and then it feels like, ooh, it's a slippery slope, and things kind of go downhill. But then he has like this energy that if at one point in your life you also shared, you become really attracted to, because you sort of like, hey, I used to have that. Hey, I used to have that kind of energy. I want it back. So it's like if it's a passion that you've once had or that you currently have, he's like a magnet, you know, and you're gonna be like really attracted to who he is. He's just fearless and courageous, and so, you know, all of us like to say that we're that, but you know, some people are not. But I just think like-minded people are magnetically just sort of attract. And so, and plus he's honest. Who gets that? There are so many phony, disingenuous people walking around, and he's just so not that. It may have been the first day that we met him. He just told us about who he was, who he is, some of his hiccups in life. And I just kept thinking to myself, I'm going to be okay, because really some of the things that it's rare nowadays to see people be human, if that makes any sense. With social media and marketing and all this kind of stuff, people just sort of paint this picture of who they want us to see them as. And it's really rare, and it's refreshing, because he's like, hey, this is what you see. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But hey, I used to do blah, 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 blah. And so it's sort of like, don't get it twisted. But then he kind of, you as a result of his being able and comfortable with his truth, you see this whole picture, and that you just sort of like. Because again, it's in addition to that being an accurate portrayal of him, it's also a reflection of you, because, you know, it communicates to me, with all the stuff I've done, I think I'm gonna be okay too. So, you know, it's been good.